Oh, hi, I didn't see you come in. I was just out here getting my feet wet with Lili. I want to talk about this character today, but first we need to clear something up real quick. Apparently some of you out there have gotten the impression that I don't like this character or don't respect people who play her, which is of course silly. I don't know what gave you that idea, but I like everyone as long as they're just being themselves. When people try too hard, it makes me a little bit sad and itchy and makes me want to go home. But look, if what you really want to do tonight is take your socks off, crack open a couple of Zimas, and then spend the evening in customization mode, making Lili look exactly like, I don't know, Morrigan from Darkstalkers, then you do you. Who am I to judge? When I was a kid, I drew pentagrams on the floor and tried to summon succubi to serve me. We all have demons. Well, I don't have demons because it didn't work, but we all have our own internal darkness and puzzle that we're trying to figure out, and if your path leads you to become a foot fetishist or a Lili main, then of course that's exactly what you should be, and I'm rooting for you. But enough about that, let's actually talk about what makes this character really cool. Just kidding. So the 10 frame is actually really good. This is 28 damage and a knockdown and a wall splat for 10 frames with the 2-4, which is just really fantastic. I guess the one downside of this move is that it doesn't have good range. So if I reset to start position here and I do the 2, you can see that it won't reach Lars, but the one jab definitely will. And so the one jab, the 1-2 right here, is what you use to compensate for and make up for that bad range on your 2-4. So if you're in range for this, you know you're going to be able to get it, then definitely go for it because it's so powerful. But I think this 1-2 is a very respectable substitute when you don't get it. 19 damage might not look like much, but it's honestly not bad. And you get in here really quick with +8, and then you can mix up. So good stuff. I think Lili is a punishment specialist in general. Honestly, her block and whiff punishment is just really good. And then the other big thing that she specializes in is of course sideways movement. Her sidestep is famously powerful, so she will, like, you know, do move, sidestep, whiff punish. A big strategy with her. We will probably talk more about that later. Moving up to 12, you have two powerful options. The 1+2 is just a big mid chunk here right away. But then the other one, and the more powerful one that I think you should use, I mean, this is so good, is the 4-2-3. I talked about how good Lars's 12 frame is recently, but this is just better because it has more range. Massive power, knockdown, go and apply Oki, you know? Fantastic fast block punishment, and that's the thing, like, Lars is good at block punishment, but he gets most of his really good stuff at like 12 or 13 and up. But Lili has good stuff for the fast stuff, which is what you really want, because those are the punishers that you apply the most, you know. And then moving up to launchers, you have a hop kick for 15 and a down 4-2 for 16. The down 4-2 is the more powerful option, but it is one frame slower. I mean, you look at Lili and she's so obviously meant to attack with her legs and her feet, but she's constantly doing like cartwheels and jumping through the air and doing these like acrobatic moves. But this is the one situation where her punching attack or her arm attack is more powerful. So something to keep in mind. More damage, more range. So if you need specifically 15, or you're looking for the low crush, then use the hop kick, but in other situations, go for the down 4-2. And then for while standing, look at this. This while standing 4 for 11 frames is a knockdown move, which is very rare and powerful. I mean, we recently looked at Leo, who has something even more amazing here, but that move is just insanity. This is really good. Not many characters at all can knock down for 11 frames right here. So very good. Again, sets up Oki and all kinds of stuff. So very powerful. For 13, you get the while standing 1-2. I think this had a damage buff recently. I don't remember, but I think it did. And it's also used in wall combos together with this 1+2. So if it is true that it got a damage buff, then you got a damage buff to your wall combo as well, which is really cool. So there you go. And then for launchers, you have a while standing 2 for 16 and a while standing 3 for 16. But if you do need 15 from while standing, you can of course just do a hop kick from full crouch. Any character who has a hop kick with an up notation can do that, because up notations cancel crouch in this game. So something to keep in mind. But there you go, yeah. And then a final move that I think rounds this all out and it's just extremely good overall is the forward 4. Check this thing out. Okay, so this is a safe mid, which is crazy for the power that it has. Massive range knockdown move. 17 frames to impact, so fast enough that it's going to work on a lot of those pushback moves. So I'm guessing this is what you use to reach those pushback moves with Lili. But just a general purpose like Whiff Punisher knockdown move that you can stick on the opponent. It is -9, so you completely give up your turn. But as you can tell, it also has a bit of pushback. So what a fantastic all-purpose move. There are even situations where you can get this move completely guaranteed. For example, this down 1+2 is one of your power crushes. It's -13 on block, but I think any power crush that gives you a wall splat on hit should be at least -13, so that makes sense. It looks like it's a spike move, but this actually does wall splat the opponent. But if you can see that Lars is going to roll really far on the ground, if you have some space between you and the wall, so the wall doesn't it doesn't wall splat, but the wall helps prevent some of that rollback, you actually collect a completely guaranteed forward 4 after the knockdown here, making it very good near the wall. So fantastic power crush move near the wall, and just a fantastic move in the shape of the forward 4 right here. Really, really good. What are some other like powerful moves with Lili? We should probably talk a little bit about like general neutral pokes. I've heard a lot of Lili players complain about how she doesn't have good stuff in this department, and I have to say, having messed around with her today, I completely disagree. I think she has some fantastic moves here. I mean, if you want to complain about this down forward one, just be aware that Katarina, Elisa, and Gigas are sitting in a corner somewhere crying, wondering if anybody's ever going to throw them a bone to chew on. But this is great for the frame data. +7 on hit, -1 on block, exceptionally powerful. The range is good as well. I'm guessing that this has other flaws, for example, linearity. It's a thing with Lili in general that is kind of interesting because her big weakness is that she's linear, but then her big strength is that she's very good at moving sideways. So both her main strength and her main counter strategy involve horizontal movement, and I think it's something to keep in mind now that the Tekken meta seems to be moving away more from sideways movement. If you're one of those characters who really want to specialize in it still, then this might be the character for you. But I think the down forward one is good. I think the jab strings are good, like I mentioned earlier. And then your go-to low with the character seems to be the down 3 overall. And I think this is fantastic. I would love to have a move like this on all of my characters. It's kind of like the junior version of a hatchet kick. Doesn't get the damage and the counter hit properties, but it's just a lot safer and really fast. +1 on hit, so really good. I mean, you might even be minus when you hit with some low pokes, but this has a huge instep and massive range. So the only downside to this move really is the fact that you don't get the high crush. And if it gets blocked, it's only -12, meaning that not even Kazuya and those guys can launch it. So fantastic go-to low for almost all situations. I think this is really good. If you really need the high crush, then you can always go to generic stuff like generic down 4 and stuff like that. And then the next big move that sort of rounds out the package is this down forward 3. This is the famous Lili mid that gives you plus frames on both hit and block, which is great. You get the +3 on block and +8 on hit. So on hit they can't do anything, not even sidestep really. +3 is not as big, but still significant enough that it's dangerous, you know. And then when you do score a counter hit with this, you can go into full combos. And I'm not an expert at Lili combos. I think you're supposed to do something like that. There you go, good damage. But these combos where you use up 3-3 and go into crouch dashes, by the way, you can actually extend the damage of these combos by cancelling your crouch dash with up like that and doing moves. I did a 1 jab right there, but I think what you're supposed to do is probably a back 1 into another crouch dash. It's kind of difficult to learn, but very powerful when you get it right. It really takes your combos to that next level. And if you want to learn about how to do that, you should probably go to someone who specializes in Lili and not me. And the big name in Lili content creation is, of course, Looney Lili. Fantastic, talented player, very good content creator. So if you aren't subscribed to her, then definitely check her out. I'm hoping we're going to get her on one of these podcasts one of these days. But yeah. Maybe we should talk a little bit about combos in general, honestly. I think, yeah, she has like 2 main standard options for the standard launchers. The one I did in the beginning is this thing, which I just really like. It has a nice flow to it. Had to be a little bit fast right there. There you go. And then the classic ender is this. But you can substitute that now and get more damage with back 2-1 into crouch dash 1-2. Takes a little bit more timing, but it's not too difficult, and you can get, you know, upwards of 64, 65 with that, which is really good. I think the other school of thought on standard Lili combos is you do some filler, like this, for example, and then you spin with down 2-2-3, which is just such a powerful spin move because it walks forwards really far, it does good damage, and it's just super reliable. So this spin move kind of becomes the whole combo, and you're just sticking part to the front and end of it, but it's just such a reliable thing and just makes your combos no-brainer. So a fantastic spin move. I prefer the ones where you use this because it just has a more sort of theatrical flow to it. Feels more Lili-ish, I guess. And then another big standard combo with her is the one after the counter down forward 3, I think the 4-4-2, and her new move up back 1. Kind of fascinating animation on this thing, but it's another safe on block counter hit launcher, so great stuff right here. And you can do, like I showed, this thing, dash in pretty deep, up forward 3-3, and then go into crouch dash stuff. So there you go. The last big sort of standard combo to be aware of is, of course, what you do after cartwheels. And we need to talk about cartwheels. This is a famous signature move of the character and very good. So the thing with this is that it has massive range and crush properties, and it's fast. It's going to surprise a lot of people and launch them. Its one weakness being the fact that it is linear. So the way you have to deal with this is that you have to move around it. But it's not like the opponent can just start sidewalking and waiting for this move to come, because she's probably going to catch them if they do that. You want to start walking or stepping this move when Lili has already committed to the move, because that's when she becomes sort of locked into the vertical plane, and your evasion becomes powerful against it. So the fact that the opponent is trying to step or walk this move will sometimes be the reason they actually get hit by it, which is why it's frustrating. You jump in and then you end up in back turn if you get blocked, which is why a lot of people like to sneak out with generic down jabs from the back turn. Just be careful about doing that too much, because it becomes predictable enough that people will start low parrying you when you do that. But when the move connects, I think you do this. And again, I'm no expert. That looks like it works. So what I'm doing here is I'm doing the cartwheel down 2. So I'm doing down 2 while standing 2, 2, and then down 2, 2. So it's just 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. And the reason I think you want to use the 2 over a 1 when you're jabbing in combos is you can tell that the 1 jab here does 7 damage and the 2 jab does 8. So you get a little bit more damage here. But this is honestly not that difficult to do at all. There's a little bit of a timing element to the ender, but, you know, 60 damage on a launcher that is this powerful is just fantastic stuff. So, core move for the character. The next thing I want to talk about, and a really important thing about strategizing in general with Lili, I believe, is, you know, the sidestepping into whiff punishers. And there's such a great little move here to get you started with that. And I think if you want to start playing Lili, this move is just, I mean, it's such a good portal or like entryway to the character, because you have this sidestep 3. This is another fantastic safe -9 mid. She has a lot of those. And they're really good, all of them. This wall bounce move is crazy. Yeah. What you do here is you just sidestep and you do a sidestep 3, and this move comes out. So it's a move tied to the sidestep itself, which makes that intuitive. And then when you connect with this, I mean, if it gets blocked, you're safe, so you're kind of fine. But if it does connect, you can get guaranteed follow-ups here. I tested this yesterday, and as far as I can tell, there's no way to really escape the follow-ups. And then I think you get even more damage with, yeah, this cartwheel right here. It's 43 plus 4. You get 41 damage for hitting with this. So it's just really good and easy to use. And it gives you a safe way to start experimenting with sidestep and to punish with this character. And then once you start getting used to that situation and you start getting a feel for when the opponent's going to swing after a sidestep, when they're going to whiff, you can start doing more party-oriented stuff like a launch, you know, like a hop kick, maybe even if you want to go balls to the wall and Matterhorn, who knows. But, I mean, yeah, it's a great thing. It's a great strategy that you want to use with the character, and this is the perfect move to start learning it, and a great way to start learning about sidestep with punishing in general. So I think it's a very cool thing that they gave you for Lili here. But there you go. We didn't talk about wall combos because we're not in a wall stage, but what you can do is, while standing 1-2 into 1+2, that's really powerful. We talked about this in the Leo video, but remember that when you're doing crouch dashes with a character, if you do down, down, forward, and you don't roll your thumb or your stick all the way to the forward for the quarter circle, you actually do have access to while standing moves from crouch dash, which means that you can use this from a range as well and get the combo working. Or sorry, the 1+2 there for the ender. If you want something a little bit more intuitive and easier to do, back 2-1 and then a delayed 1+2 for the 60% damage scaling, only sacrifices 1 point of damage. And then the other big thing you can do with this character, which is really cool, is if you're spinning them and they're sort of near the wall but not on it, do a down for 2 and hold back to access back turn. And when they get splat to the wall, do the back 4 string. This turns into a wall combo with the last 2 hits being an unscaled massive chunk of 22 for just really, really big combos. Lili loves the wall, and she loves floor and wall breaks as well. On the temple stage with the floor breaks, she's just a complete monster. She gets really good damage because of this string after those floor breaks. So yeah, I think those are the main things I wanted to talk about with the character. But yeah, if you like sidestepping and you like sideways movement, if you like being, you know, an agile, mobile character with good punishment, then this might be the character for you. I think the reason Lili is kind of underused right now has less to do with the fact that she's not very good, because I honestly think she is pretty good. Maybe more to do with the fact that this sort of tired, very Japanese character stereotype of the wealthy, fancy European who drinks a lot of black tea, gets driven around in a limo, lives in a mansion. It's just kind of a boring and old trope, in my opinion. It shows up a lot in Japanese media, but they kind of like their character tropes. And I think giving her a little bit more flavor and giving her a twist to her design, kind of how they gave Zafina the hand, you know, making it a little bit extra, making it a little bit more interesting. You know, if she's supposed to be a dance-oriented character, then maybe do something with that, you know. I think she needs a little bit more seasoning to make her really interesting and sort of fun to look at and use. But in terms of like the move list and the gameplay, I don't think there's that much to complain about here. I think she works really well. I think she can be stronger than you'd think. I think she's underestimated for the most part. But there you go, that's Lili. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys again very soon.